So you speak about, time, investment, being with people. But just remember, a few moments ago, we talked about how as churches are various sizes, that level of accessibility, it does change. Could you speak for a few moments about like the role of like a pastoral team? Because there are limits, like all of us we're limited people in a room full of limited people. And if we talk about, we want we want to be accessible to everybody, that's actually impossible. It could just be like thin, tiny little micro slices of us that go out. So what's the role of a pastor organizing teams, serving as a team, serving with a team, and then creating teams for care and also for equipping?
For me, the word will be you need to be strategic, because you cannot invest in all and love all the same way. So you need to. I love the last sermon about I learned to listen your mom's voice in the secret, that I recognized her voice in the because it is kind of I always have this on our first call is to intimacy, not to activity. So we tend, mostly because in my case I came from a business background, to do kind of plans and my BA is in human resources, so it's like the profile that we need, and it is more like be synchronized with the Holy Spirit to see what He's doing in each person, to be able to just connect with His will, and you will serve the people that He's bringing to your ministry, that He will bring you to bless His plan through your church, or like His church, but in your administration. So yeah, for me, it's more about okay, this guy is bringing people. This guy is loving people. This guy is serving. This guy is equipping. So I always go every Sunday with open eyes, show me, God, who you are bringing, that you're bringing to us, so we can be sensitive to you and love him in a way that we will invite him and equip him and position him in a role that can practice his gifts. So yeah, for me, is strategic is the right word for me, because when you start church and then start growing, your people will lose their pastor in the altar of many things that we need to do. But if you care for the right people that help you lead, that will be a blessing even for your soul, because instead of ministry, you have a family and a wife and kids. So you need to lead your team in a way that they understand that your first ministry is your family, not the church. The church can have another pastor, but your wife shouldn't have another husband. So that's the challenge that we need to navigate this side of eternity.
Yeah, and so you would say the way to do that is through strategic investment.
Yep.
Yeah, I had a conversation with somebody earlier, and actually in my notebook here, I have a triangle, I have a pyramid, and on the bottom of the pyramid, it says nurture. So everyone should be nurtured by us. And then in the middle of the pyramid, it's that many should be equipped by us. And then at the very top of the pyramid, some should be developed by us. So nurture all, equip many, and then develop some. And then those developed people can then be investing and caring to others.
Yep.
So that's essentially kind of it sounds like the pastor's role, developing others. Is there any thoughts from anyone about serving as a pastor alongside others, essentially as part of a team?
Yeah, I'd like to recommend Paul Tripp's book, Lead. Mm-hmm. And in that book, he talks about how the pastoral team should be the example of community. That if there's not community happening in the pastoral team, how is your community at large going to understand it and to live in that kind of that relationship, that there's intimacy, there's accessibility, there's transparency, there's all these things working through the hard stuff together. I think that's so very important, because then as you do that, that's where you develop a lot of stuff. That infiltrates a whole lot of other stuff. And
just to highlight, that's a book that I think every pastor should read, Lead by Paul Tripp. It is a must for really this awareness. That's his thesis after, I think, 10 years of calling, that if you see 90% of the endorsements guy, false. So he was I need to teach not the leader, but the team of leaders. So thank you for bringing that to the table.
Well, I've read Dangerous Calling, but I haven't read Lead yet, so maybe I should. If we're recommending books, I would recommend The Plurality Principle by... Who wrote The Plurality Principle?
It's a great author. No, I don't know.
Thule, I think, yeah. Anyway, that's a great book where it talks about the importance of having a pastoral team, and he affirms the importance of a first among equals. That it's not just like naked, bare, base, egalitarian, but there is a first among equals, but there's a team that's there.
I think that the team thing too. I think we've come a long ways in regard to appreciating a team and recognizing that in some ways that is really more of a biblical model, a New Testament model for sure, than say what we would normally think of as like a Moses model or something like that. And so I feel like, as a family of churches, we've definitely made some good headway on that, but I think we could even do better. And I just think of Paul, like at the end of Colossians, Paul lists 10 names of people that he's intimately involved in his ministry. And I think so often, because, Paul's the author of so many epistles that we teach and we quote and so forth, we're just thinking of Paul as this solo, this independent guy who's just doing it all himself. And then, we're solo and we're independent and we're saying, well, I'm just like Paul. But we're failing to realize, well, no, we're not just like Paul, because Paul actually did have a team around him. Yeah. And he mentioned the team on several occasions. And when you take, whether it's the Colossians passage or, my goodness, you take Romans, the end of Romans, and all the different names there, and you start, some of them, there's very little content about them, but others there's more. And you start to look at, Aquila and Priscilla, for example. You start to get a little glimpse of even their personality and their gifts and things, and you see how this was working together with Paul's gifts. So I think, and here we are today, and I've been here, 2025, I will have been here 25 years. And
quick math.
What's that?
Quick math.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty easy, right? 2025. I am pretty good at just adding, Don't try any geometry or trigonometry or anything. But anyway, looking back over those almost 25 years now, and then even thinking back to previous seasons, in England, previous seasons in Vista, I feel like we are here today functioning as a team in a way that I've never experienced in my entire ministry life. And it's so refreshing and beautiful. I love it.
That's beautiful to hear. And Brian, as you were talking about maybe the shifts and the change and how, for many of us, we're leaning more into like a team-oriented view towards pastoral ministry. I could tell from your face that there was going to be a but. And then your but was, but we could do even better. And so I want to highlight that. I think that's a great thing. I could see a but coming, but it actually intensified what you were previously saying rather than qualified it. Yeah,
because do you think that we've made some good headway in that?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it just my imagination?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in our church, Calvary Cork, I think that we were one of the earlier ones in our part of the world to kind of transition out of a solo pastor model into a plurality of elders. Obviously, there was the guys in London that were South London. That kind of maybe were the very first that I was aware of. But it felt that we were really outliers for a while in our neck of the woods or in this neck of the woods, and that's not the case anymore. So it's been maybe a few years head start. I've been doing a lot of thinking and reading myself over the years, and it's been wonderful when people agree with me. That was a joke.